And the champion of the poor, that brings us to business. We say hello to Yuka Royer.
Hi, François.
And as those tributes pour in, as we just heard in that discussion, there's this argument over what's the message leaders, including religious leaders, should be sending out to this world at this point.
Well, throughout his 12-year tenure, Pope Francis was known for his humble style and support for the poor and forgotten, and his criticism of materialism and unbridled capitalism. Let's hear some of the earliest statements he made after being elected head of the Catholic Church in 2013.
Francis of Assisi, for me, is the man of poverty. Oh, how I would like a church for the poor. Nowadays, we are living in an unfair international system where the money god is at the center. We are living in a throwaway culture where old people are discarded, as are young people.
So definitely an outspoken pope.
Well, during his tour of Latin America back in 2015, the pontiff apologized for the Catholic Church's own treatment of indigenous people in the past, alluding to the Vatican's complicity in Spanish colonialism that began in the 15th century. He also used the occasion to criticize what he called a new colonialism rooted in inequality and called for the protection of labor rights. He called the unfettered pursuit of money the dung of the devil that hurt the people and harmed the environment, saying poorer countries should not be reduced to providing raw material and cheap labor for richer nations. The Pope continued to advocate for the underprivileged, but also took a pragmatic approach. In 2020, the Vatican teamed up with billionaires and big businesses to launch the Council for Inclusive Capitalism. The core group of business people leading the council include the heads of Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, DuPont, BP, and Merck. At the time of the launch, they represented over $10.5 trillion in assets they managed and $2.1 trillion in total market cap. Their aim was to meet annually with the pontiff and another top cardinal to try and reform capitalism into, quote, a powerful force for the good of humanity. More recently, Pope Francis said he did not condemn capitalism per se, nor was he against the market economy, but he continued to denounce inequality.
Poverty is a scandal. When the Lord returns, he will ask us to account for it.
And of course, the clash over capitalism, also a clash with the Trump administration.
Both during President Trump's first term and his second, the Pope made some scathing criticism of some of its policies, notably on immigration, with him calling plans for mass deportations a disgrace and made a direct reference to Trump's border policy. Let's take a listen.
A person who only thinks about making walls again and again and not making bridges is not a Christian.
And more recently, the Vatican's charity Caritas Internationalis blasted the Trump administration's push to shut down USAID. In February, the charity warned that millions of people could die or be condemned to, quote, dehumanizing poverty as a result of what it called ruthless decision by Washington to recklessly stop funding to the development agency. The Catholic Church's aid agencies in the US are major recipients of USAID's funding. One of the last person to meet the terminally ill pontiff was US Vice President J.D. Vance. Although that meeting only lasted a few minutes, more lengthy discussions were held between him and another top cardinal, touching on cuts to US foreign aid and wars in Gaza and Ukraine.